Yes.
No,
Okay.
I'm closer. Otherwise, she wants to
I
speak.
need to tell people to sit down now because the ministers are
Podium,
coming up.
podium, podium.
Oh, podium. Okay. Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 5th Green Industry Conference. May I ask if everybody could take a seat because our ministers are coming. So thank you very much.
No, it's not. Okay. Good morning. May I please request you to all settle down in a seat? I will. May I start? Good morning again. A warm welcome to the 5th edition of the Green Industry Conference, hosted by His Excellency Mr. Uttama Savanayon, Minister of Industry, Thailand, Mr. Lee Yong, Director General of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, and Mr. Hong Joo Ham, Officer in charge of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific, the ESCAP. This year's theme is Green Industry for Sustainable Development, and the conference aims to help governments, industry leaders, and stakeholders design solutions and engage in exchanges to advance sustainable development through the greening of industry, in line with the Sustainable Development Goal 9, inclusive and sustainable industrialization, resilient infrastructure, and innovation, and other related SDGs of the 2030 Agenda. Today, we are privileged to have with us His Excellency Amir Hussain Amu, Minister of Industry, Bangladesh, His Excellency Mr. U King Maung Cho, Minister of Industry, Myanmar, His Excellency Mr. Eric Grigorian, Minister of Nature Protection, Armenia, who will be arriving shortly, His Excellency Mr. Artan Shakreli, Deputy Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, Albania, His Excellency Ms. Bungkam Borachit, Vice Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, Lao PDR, His Excellency Mr. Pork Sovanarit, Secretary of State in the Ministry of Industry and Handicrafts, Cambodia, and His Excellency Engpat Dajin, State Secretary, Ministry of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry, Mongolia. And joining in the afternoon, His Excellency Mr. Norbert Bartley, Parliamentary State Secretary to the Federal Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development, Germany, all of whom will be sharing with us their experiences in developing green industries in their countries. We are honored with the participation of excellencies, the ambassadors of Austria, Bangladesh, Cuba, Egypt, Panama, Poland, Mexico, and I apologize for missing the other ambassadors, many countries, and we are delighted to have nearly 500 participants, including 76 distinguished moderators and speakers from 51 countries, covering all regions of the world from Asia and the Pacific, Africa, Europe, all the way to Latin America, the Caribbean, and North Africa. And we have 16 companies exhibiting outside. Our conference moderator today will be Mr. Edward Clarence Smith, conference rapporteur, I'm sorry, would be Mr. Edward Clarence Smith, who you should feel free to meet and share your views with. And he will be working with session rapporteurs to summarize for all of us the deliberations at the closing session. Before inviting our hosts for their opening remarks, please allow me to take another minute to introduce Slido, the online application we will use for Q&A and for gathering your opinions with polls and about the conference topics in every session. You may, can we project on the screen, please? You may either download this application to your mobile phone, which is the recommended option, or use your mobile phone's browser to link to the application. Please do not hesitate to ask assistance from our volunteers who are wearing badges that have a green mark and a V on them. These volunteers are special, so I wanted to recognize them. They are master's and PhD students from the Austrian Institute of Technology and the Chulalongkorn University. We request you to keep your mobile phones, please, in silent mode during the sessions. Leave your headphones on your table or chair when you need to leave the conference room, as a request from ESCAP colleagues. Register for one of the field visits, we have 2, on a first-come, first-served basis, as we have limitations on the number of participants. Visit the exhibitions and consult the conference website for the biographies of the speakers and moderators. Finally, you are cordially invited to the cocktail reception hosted by the Ministry of Industry of Thailand on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of UNIDO-Thailand relations in this building at 6 p.m. today. Now, respectfully, I'd like to request His Excellency Mr. Uttama Savayanayon, Minister of Industry, Thailand, to deliver his opening remarks, please. Excellency.
Thank you. Director General Leon of UNIDO, Excellency Ministers and Ambassadors, Mr. Ham, Officer in Charge, ESCAP, Kun Supan Mongkol Suthi, Chairman of the Federation of Thai Industries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of the Royal Thai Government and the Thai people, I'm pleased to welcome all participants to the 5th Green Industry Conference for Sustainable Development. Now, Thailand is truly honored to have the opportunity to co-host this highly important conference with UNIDO and UNESCAP. It is truly fortunate for us to have policy makers, business leaders, and leading experts to share their thoughts and expertise on sustainable development through greening of the industry and related topics. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to reiterate that Thailand attaches the highest priority to sustainable development, especially as adopted in the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. And as such, the Thai government has always stressed the importance of putting principles into practice. And I am pleased to report that we have made very good progress by comprehensively incorporating the SDGs directly into relevant national development policies and strategies. For the past 3 years, the overarching goal that Thailand is aiming to achieve is to initiate and drive a comprehensive reform agenda that will enable Thailand to progress firmly on the path of long-term sustainable growth. To this end, a 20-year national development plan has been launched under a new law recently passed by the National Assembly, which ensures the continuity in the implementation process of the plan going forward. It's the first time that we have such a law in place in Thailand. In terms of actual implementation of the plan, the government has introduced what we call Thailand 4.0. Thailand 4.0 is a wide-ranging reform roadmap that covers all dimensions of the national development, from social, economic, human capital, healthcare, infrastructures, environment, of course, and so on. For example, the so-called Green Growth Engine Initiative under Thailand 4.0 aims to preserve and restore the natural resource base, increase efficiency in water resource management, clean up pollution, promote sustainable consumption and production, as well as to prepare for greenhouse gas mitigation. Targets for green growth development have been set that include reducing greenhouse gas emission in the energy and transport sectors by at least 7% by the year 2020. Increasing efficiency in solid waste disposal, increasing the country's forest area to cover up to 40% of the country's area, the entire country, to maintain a balanced ecosystem. Now, directly addressing sustainable development through greening of the industry is our concerted effort to undertake an Industry 4.0 transformation, which itself is vital to Thailand 4.0's success. Let me share with you briefly how we are driving our Industry 4.0 forward in 4 key interrelated areas that very much are related to sustainable development and also greening of the industry. First, priority sectors and industries. This is the core of Industry 4.0. It's a promotion of priority industries comprising 10 industries that we have identified that they will serve and help to transform the country towards a more value-based, innovation-driven economy. 5 of them are existing ones, those that Thailand has natural strengths in, has resources to develop, and 5 new ones that will be new growth engines. Existing ones will be enhanced, upgraded. New ones are being developed. I'm not going to go into details in the interest of time of these industries. Just like to say that the selection of these priority industries take into consideration, as I said, inherent strengths, potentials of the industries with the green and sustainability concept always in mind. Now, to execute, a development roadmap is individually created for each industry. All roadmaps specify strategies, measures, and actions for all aspects, including demand promotion, supply management, upgraded regulations, infrastructure, human resource development, and sustainable ecosystem development. For example, in response to the global future mobility, which is moving towards, as we know, clean, sustainable mobility, Thailand is now transforming our automotive industry, which is one of our mainstay industries for 30 years now, towards an electrical vehicle or EV industry. Other high potential industries include agriculture-related, food and bioeconomy, digital, robotics, and automation. Now, all these industries certainly involve important implications of green industry and sustainable development. And I just would like to mention that in the implementation of the roadmaps, we extensively use the PPP approach, private-public partnership approach, from the origination, the creation of the roadmap to the execution of the roadmaps. We get people together from the private sector, the education sector, the academia, very, very vital, and the government sort of acts as the coordinators and supplies the support that is necessary. So every roadmap goes before the cabinet. And then once approved, then it gets all the support from various agencies involved. That's the first key area of our Industry 4.0 transformation effort. The second is appropriate technology. Concept of Industry 4.0, we believe, crucially involve many cutting-edge technologies such as IoT, Internet of Things, big data analytics, robotics, AI technologies, just to name a few. The adoption of these appropriate technologies will be beneficial through increased connectivity across entire businesses as manual factories are increasingly transformed into digitally driven smart factories. At the same time, technology plays a central role in the greening of industry for these smart factories. Third, human resource or human capital development. To me, this is in fact the most important aspect of our Industry 4.0 transformation. Fundamentally, we believe that innovation and sustainable growth in a modern value-based economy thrives on the dynamic entrepreneurship of all kinds on the part of the people. And as such, entrepreneurship deserves to be actively fostered and promoted. At the same time, we're ensuring that our effort takes into account capacity building in critical areas that include a thorough understanding of sustainable development and the management of relevant systems, processes, and stakeholders. For example, what we're working on is, as I mentioned, systematic promotion, fostering of startups, SMEs. One important aspect in what we're doing is to be able to support them to create new innovation. And sustainable development, greening of industry, environment-related topics are very much ripe for such activities. We see it as an open platform where startups and SME can chip in with their creativity and to be able to come up with new ideas, innovations towards the promotion of friendly environment, greening of industry, and so on. Fourth key area under Industry 4.0 transformation for Thailand is the ecosystem and environment. Now, the transformation cannot succeed without effective development of ecosystems that are underpinned by dynamic green industry strategies and implementation. For example, increased energy efficiency and renewable energy, the optimization of manufacturing processes, and high impact usage of data analytics applications and information sharing along the industrial value chains. In a nutshell, our Industry 4.0 reform is not only designed to increase the competitiveness of industrial enterprises through technology, innovation, and productivity, but also to address issues concerning environmental impact and sustainability in various ways. In the era of Industry 4.0, I believe that industries must strive to be perceived not as the ultimate sources of serious harms to the communities and the environment, but rather as the proactive supporters of sustainability for quality growth of people and their communities. And in all projects that we are currently doing, driving forward, environmental consideration and processes are all integrated into all the investment, especially the mega projects that we are doing, infrastructures and so on, throughout Thailand. If you don't pass the tests that we have, then no go. in all projects, and that goes for everyone. So that's what we are doing now in terms of the overall picture of Thailand's effort towards reforming the country. There are, of course, other dimensions of it, as I mentioned, social and everything, but I would not go into those areas for the interest of time. Now, let me briefly share with you tangible actions that have been taken to promote green industry sustainable development in Thailand. To promote green industry practices at the factory level, the Ministry of Industry has initiated the Green Industry Project. The Green Industry Project is an accreditation program, actually, that's what they call it, for individual factories which have shown commitment to or implemented green actions in their business operations. And these are done throughout the value chains. The program offers 5 levels of certification for factories implementing green activities, from more basic and easily implementable actions, such as the adoption of green policy, to more sophisticated and integrated ones, like greening the entire supply chain. By the end of last year, about 34,000 factories in Thailand, or approximately 1/4 of total number of factories that we have been participating in the program. And we expect, of course, that we will get the entire space of industrial factories to join us. And of course, being recognized as green is starting to matter more and more to factories in Thailand as a social awareness on corporate social responsibility for people and environment continues to grow. Another work on green industry that has been implemented since the year 2010 is the Eco-Industrial Town project. In this project, the Ministry of Industry has collaborated with the Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand to develop designated eco-industrial towns. And this is being done across the country with the ultimate goal of the industries coexisting harmoniously and growing with the communities with respect to environmental preservation. And so the project concentrates on industrial estates throughout Thailand. And now we have 20 industrial estates that have been certified the status of eco-industrial towns or eco-champions. Now, the detail of our eco-industrial town project, I believe, will be elaborated by my colleagues later in the program. One of the latest green industry-related initiatives that we're working on is the systematic development of circular economy in Thailand. Now, various projects related to circular economy are ongoing, such as green mining, green productivity, eco-designs, and eco-standards. The Ministry of Industry, what we're doing is that we are taking the lead in collaborating with other agencies and the industries to create a circular economy, again, development roadmap. And I expect that to be completed soon, within this month. Then again, it will be brought to the cabinet, and if approved, then we will start the implementation of the circular economy development quickly. Now, we are excited, very excited about circular economy playing a key role in supporting Thailand's commitment to the SDGs and also our Industry 4.0 transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of sustainable development through greening of the industry, I believe, is cross-cutting for all aspects of our Industry 4.0 transformation. The theme is a powerful driver of innovation, human capital development, enterprise development that underpins Thailand's transformation towards a competitive, value-based economy with sustainable, inclusive growth. As a prime example, sustainable development and greening of industry acts as a catalyst for a nationwide agenda of progressive activities that connect industries, communities, the government, and also the academia, as I mentioned earlier, through proactive PPP, public-private partnerships activities. Now, these include active participation in policy development, research development, the design of sustainable green industry-related initiatives, and practical applications. Now, to this end, the Ministry of Industry is joining hands with the Ministry of Digital Economy, the Ministry of Science and Technology to create a nationwide network of InnoSpace. InnoSpace will comprise a network of online and physical platforms designed to promote wide-ranging innovations that are propelled through the fostering of startups and entrepreneurs. Sort of an open platform for innovation where people can plug in. Now, the green industry and related areas will feature prominently on the agenda of InnoSpace, as these areas are providing numerous high-potential opportunities for entrepreneurial activities and actions that ultimately contribute to the advancement of the sustainable development through the greening of industry in Thailand. We expect InnoSpace to be up and running by early next year, and we also have had very good participation from our friends in the international community, especially in ASEAN and so on, that will be interested in making InnoSpace a platform not just for Thailand, for the sub-region, ACMEX, and for ASEAN as a whole, and we could potentially connect with other regions around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I have shared with you the greening of the industry in the spirit of sustainable development that is taking place in Thailand as an integral part of our national development. And as we drive forward various initiatives, Thailand very much looks forward to working actively in the international arena at both the regional and global levels. Regionally, we believe that there are great opportunities to collaborate with our friends, in particular in the context of ACMEX and ASEAN. Globally, opportunities we believe also exist for us to work closely with global specialized organizations like UNIDO to advance industrial development that places a highest priority for sustainability in the progress of people, enterprises, and environment. So with that, in concluding my remark, I'd like to thank UNIDO for selecting Bangkok as a host city for this important conference. Let me also thank UNSCAP that co-sponsors and co-organizes this event for the kind support and support of everyone involved over the past few months. I truly believe that this conference will not only allow us to exchange ideas, but will also offer opportunities for us to turn ideas into innovative actions that can significantly contribute to the continued advancement of sustainability in all dimensions of development. And with that, I conclude my remark. And to our international guests, I wish you all a pleasant stay in Thailand, sustainable one. Thank you.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for your thought-provoking remarks. Now, I'd like to respectfully invite Mr. Lee Yong, Director General of UNIDO, to deliver his opening remarks, please.
Honorable Minister Uttana Samanayana, Minister of Industry, Thailand, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Mr. Hong Joo Han, Officer in Charge, ASCAP, Excellency, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and thank you all for joining the 5th edition of the Green Industrial Conference. This time held in Bangkok. Special thanks are due to the Ministry of Industry of Thailand and Economic Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ASCAP, who have partnered with UNIDO in this organization. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, industrial businesses produce what we consume every day, from food to clothing and shoes, to products we use to make our homes, offices, schools, and hospitals, our means of transportation from the cars to trains, and also the aircrafts, communications, medicines, and the means of production to further produce what we need. As the Industrial Development Organization of the United Nations, our mandate is to make industrial development more inclusive, sustainable, and resource efficient. As industrial businesses make the products we consume, they also help create millions of jobs in manufacturing and even large numbers of indirect jobs in agriculture, mining, and the services sector for the production of raw materials, business services, finance, quality control, wholesale and retail, and other sectors. Whether direct or indirect job creating income, they lift people out of poverty, improve their well-being, as well as contribute to social inclusion and cohesion in communities and societies, thus peace, stability overall. As the UN Specialized Agency mandated to promote inclusive and sustainable industrial development, in short, ISRD, UNIDO has been advising the assisting governments of our member states to adopt a development pathway based on the green industry, building institutional capacities in support of such pathway, and working directly with businesses to realize the associated economic, social, environmental gains. Introducing innovations and partnerships in our work with value chains, and the SME helps upgrading production technologies that create greener products that use less material, energy, and water. This is carried out in the sectors as diverse as food production, garments, textile, footwear, and furniture sectors, construction, and automotive also included. Institutional capacity building in technical centers, agro-industrial parks, logistics hubs help enhance productivity Institutional capacity building also empowers national, local institutions and the stakeholders while supporting government to design and implement policies most suitable to diverse circumstances of low to middle income countries in Asia and the Pacific, Africa, Latin America. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I just would like to mention the network of 65 resource efficiency, efficient, cleaner production centers that we have helped set up and strengthen for almost 25 years, currently spans over 50 countries. And they have been assisting hundreds of thousands of businesses to enhance resource productivity by designing greener products, reducing energy and water use, cutting out waste from production, packaging, transportation, thereby contributing to a lower greenhouse gas emissions. And in diverse sectors from the food production and automotive. Our global clean tech initiative, among others, facilitates innovation and supports entrepreneurs and firms to create new products for green buildings. For these firms now extract nutrients that would otherwise go to the waste, return them as green products to nature. They improve energy efficiency through the deployment of the information and the communication technologies. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me continue our list of the innovative services. The global network of the sustainable energy centers we have helped set up and support since 2010 are now serving 8 regions and promote renewable energy use in industries. UNIDO Investment Technology Promotion Offices in Bahrain, China, Germany, Italy, Japan, Nigeria, South Korea, and the Russia Federation facilitates North-South and South-South partnerships for technology transfer, innovations for industrial upgrading, and contribute to the resource productivity. And since 2004, we have also been promoting new business models for chemical use that are based on paying for performance, called chemical leasing. This has been adopted by hundreds of firms and reduces both the use of chemicals and potentially harmful emissions into our waters, lands, and air. This is a very innovative approach. We promote the private sector, big companies producing their chemical products, and while encouraging them to develop technology to get residuals from the usage, and then help the consumer to support this process, which actually reduce the dissemination of those pollutants. And this is a very innovative way, and we receive more and more support from the private sector and also organizations. Our new water stewardship initiatives support communities and firms doing business in these communities to preserve water as an essential and a critical resource for human well-being. Transformation of industrial parks to eco-industrial parks help put in place circular business practices such as industrial symbiosis, and also both within these parks and with urban environments they are located in, contributing to the sustainable development of our towns and cities. One of these projects has recently been launched in Thailand's industrial parks that are part of its Eastern Economic Corridor initiative. Let me cite our partnership with World Bank Group and the GIZ through which we have developed the international framework of eco-industrial parks that is currently implemented in 33 existing industrial parks in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, at UNIDO, we see the waste as a resource. It contains valuable materials that could be used again, where this is no longer possible. Often embedded energy could be extracted from further power production and heating. All this is significantly cutting down on pollution and improving the health and the well-being of the people. We support waste management programs in regions and countries. Through these, firms build the capacities to extract potential secondary raw materials from waste and detoxify them to enable reuse and remanufacturing. At the same time, programs are supporting the creation of jobs in waste collection and sorting, processing through recycling. At the beginning of a product's life cycle, we remove toxin by upgrading design, product, and production technologies as part of a work to assist our member states to undertake their commitments with multilateral environmental agreements through technical training, capacity building. This work also opens up a space for innovations, partnerships, and the new domestic business opportunities. You will also notice that many of the topics I have outlined are similar to those discussed in circular economy, just as Minister of Industry of Thailand mentioned. The circular economy, as a consequence, at the UNIDO, we focus on special efforts on circular economy. As part of that, beyond our technical assistance activities, facilitating uptake of the circular economy practices, UNIDO offers its member states a forum to exchange their experience, their plan, their vision, their strategy. The ensuring exchanges will help to facilitate a smooth pathway towards each country's version of a circular economy. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, this is why UNIDO have been organizing Green Industrial Conference since 2009 in Philippines, 2011 in Japan, and also in 2013 in China, when I set up the promotion of circular economy principles and the practices as a priority for UNIDO. And in 2016, in the Republic of Korea, to bring together leaders from the government, business leaders, key development actors to engage in the dynamic critical exchange on how to pursue a development pathway based on the green industry. It is therefore important when pursuing such a pathway to realize the associated economic, social, environmental gains through circular business practices, policies, strategies that support circular economy principles and practices. Colleagues, friends, as such, Green Industrial Conference has become a credible forum outlining the benefits of inclusive and sustainable industrial development, innovations, and a resilient infrastructure embodied in SDG Goal 9, the showcasing the means to achieve not only SDG Goal 9, but also other SDG directly, namely SDG 3, food, health, and well-being, water, 6, 7, energy, 8, decent work and economic growth, 11 is sustainable cities and communities. sustainable production consumption as goal 12, and goal 13, climate action, and those related to life below water, life below the water, SDG 14, and the land, SDG 15, directly or other SDGs indirectly, demonstrating the interconnectedness and the linkages among sustainable development goals. I really would like to mention SDG goal 17, which is partnership. It is so important for UNIDO to work with our stakeholders, international community, UN peer agencies, development financial institutions, and private sector in particular. As I welcome you once again to the 5th edition of the Green Industrial Conference in Bangkok, I invite policymakers, business community, and the civil society representatives we have here to engage in intensive dialogue, share experiences, insights, to widen the pathway for developing inclusive and sustainable industries for sustainable future for all. In conclusion, I really would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to the Ministry of Industry of Thailand for strong support for this important event, and also our appreciation goes to ASCAP for the strong partnerships at the UN family. I wish the great success of this 5th edition of the Green Industrial Conference. Also wish you a happy stay in Thailand, Bangkok, Thailand, this beautiful modern city. And thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General. Now, I would like to request Mr. Hong Joo Ham, Officer in charge of SCAP, respectfully, to deliver his opening remarks, please.
Minister Kunutama, Director General Lee, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished ministers, ladies and gentlemen, let me especially welcome the private sector representatives that is gathered here today. I welcome you to Bangkok and to the 5th Green Industry Conference, hosted by the Royal Government of Thailand and UNIDO. It's no secret that Asia is now a rich continent. We even have a movie about how rich and crazy Asians are. This richness has been moved together with great social achievements. When I was born in 1960, the average lifespan of an Asian was 53. I would certainly be dead already. But now the lifespan has reached 66. I still have many more years to go. But it's not just lifespans. We have had social indicators of almost achieving universal primary education and universal health. The level of not just social indicators, but industrial indicators are even more remarkable. My favorite data is Bhutan, that in 1990 had 1% electrification. Today, it has 100%, and mostly in renewable. But as we have achieved great numbers in terms of energy efficiencies and energy renewable uses, our demand for energy has outstripped the pace of these switches. Our energy demand has almost doubled, and Asia is one of the most resource-hungry regions of the world. Industry is really a prime source of environmental pressures on our planet. Just in terms of the carbon dioxide emissions, Asia is the emitter of half the world's greenhouse gases. We are responsible at least half for ensuring that we meet the Paris Agreement targets of 1.5 degrees. We are responsible for polluting our fair share and then some. 5 countries in Asia alone is responsible for 50% of all plastics dumped into our oceans. 6 out of 9 great rivers, which is a source of much solid and plastic waste, are in Asia. The megacities of the world, 6 of 10 are Asia, and they are the most polluted cities in the world today. Not only are we polluting on land, we are dumping wastewater that is untreated into our river systems and into our oceans. And industry is greatly responsible, governments responsible for weak regulations and enforcements. We are the most efficient when it comes to fisheries, and we constitute the greatest IUUs in the world: illegal, unregistered, and undocumented fishing vehicles that are trawling our oceans with long lines and drift nets. What I'm telling you is that while we have achieved remarkable gains on the economic front and the social front, we have done extremely poorly on the environmental front. The numbers show it. The SDG indicators for Asia-Pacific region has shown great economic advancements, great social advancements, but from SDG 10 on down, all the environmental indicators, without exception, whether it's rich Asia, poor Asia, islands Asia, landlocked Asia, we have done very, very poorly indeed. To address the challenges, to meet these environmental mitigation measures, to do better for life on Earth, for life below water, for our planet and for our future, we must work together. And we must work a lot better than we have in the past. Asia will still grow. We will still achieve social objectives. But we must turn this growth and our social objectives and address our environmental issues as vigorously as possible. I take you back to the Sung Dynasty, 1500s China, the greatest producer of silk at that time. Silk production in China was not just a simple production of worms. They cultivated mulberry trees. The mulberry trees were the primary ingredients for the silkworms. All byproducts of the silkworms were gathered in a pond that was used to harvest fishing. The fishes were sold to market, and it fed their employees. But the guts and entrails of the fish would be used as fertilizers for the mulberry trees, and the cycle would continue. Sustainable production, circular production, what we now call the circular economy. The circular economy, the concept of reusing, reducing our use, recycling, remanufacturing, is just common sense. We know, by some estimation, that Asia and Pacific could save more than $1 trillion if it adapted to a circular economy concept. To meet the SDGs on the environmental front, at least on the climate change factor, we estimated somewhere around $750 billion. The cost benefits make sense. We are no longer in a position where we have much choices. the challenges we face in the 21st century to meet the demands of our population, and our population continues to increase. We are at 7.5 billion today. We were at 6 billion less than 15 years ago, and we are shooting for 9 billion before 2050. The food, energy, water nexus is not a convenient choice. It is an absolute necessity. And the people of Asia Pacific, the countries of Asia Pacific, must work together if we are to address these global challenges. Technology, wild innovations, most certainly will help, but that is not the panacea. The only solution that we see is cooperation, working together as neighbors, supporting each other, and pursuing a circular economy that must be driven in the next stage of our economic growth paradigm. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ham. Now, while we are running a little bit late, I think we have the potential still to catch up. I would like to introduce our keynote speaker coming from South Africa, Professor Linda Godfrey, who teaches at the Northwest University, and she is the principal scientist at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR. So, Professor Godfrey, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me with this microphone?
Maybe we give her your microphone. Could we have another microphone?
How about that?
Okay.
That's fine? Thank you. Excellencies, ministers, ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor and a privilege to be with you today and to present on something which is very close and dear to my heart, which is around the role of the circular economy, particularly within a developing country context, and how that speaks to issues of development and green industries. If you don't mind, I am going to stand here so that I can see the presentation. Thank you. To see the presentation, as unfortunately the screen is a little far from my eyesight. Thank you.
You need to see the presentation. It's here. Maybe also there.
Certainly, I think never before have we seen so much evidence at a global, a regional, a local level, which highlights the increasing demand for natural resources, the associated environmental impacts, and the human health impacts associated with that, and the continued depletion of our finite resources. According to the European Environmental Agency, world material use has grown tenfold since 1900 and may double again by 2030. The IRP notes that this dramatic increase in the use of resources will intensify climate change, increase pollution, reduce biodiversity, and ultimately lead to the depletion of natural resources, causing worrying shortages in critical materials and heightening the risk of local conflicts. The recently published Geo6 Regional Outlook for the Asia-Pacific region also highlights how population growth, industrialization, and urbanization have led to sharp increases in consumption. Consumption of minerals, of ores, fossil fuels, and biomass in the region, which they note as both unsustainable and inefficient, and results in pollution, declining biodiversity, and rapid depletion of regional resources. And as highlighted by a previous speaker, one can see from the graph how hungry the Asia-Pacific region is for resources and the exponential growth that we've seen in consumption in the region. In fact, this risk of access to secure, sustainable, and affordable resources has become so important for businesses and countries that we're seeing responses, we're seeing strategies being put in place. In fact, just in 2011, the European Commission identified 14 critical raw materials that they saw as being a constraint to European industry and value chains. Those 14 critical raw materials were updated to 20 critical raw materials in 2014 and updated once again in 2017 to 27 critical raw materials. The reality is, as noted in all of these documents, is that our economy is embedded within finite limits of our planet. And so the IRP have put forward this plea and the urgency and the imperative to decouple our economic activity and our human well-being from resource use. To base this on innovative solutions, cutting-edge data that will support this transformation from a linear production and consumption system towards a more circular one. And so I think we're all familiar with our current manufacturing systems. We extract, we take things, we make things, we consume things, and we throw them away at end of life when they have no value to us. Our current manufacturing system is linear. And eventually, we run out of resources and we accumulate our waste streams. And so the question is, how do we transition to the circular economy? Importantly, a circular economy is not about doing this just more sustainably. A circular economy is not a synonym for recycling. In fact, I argue that a circular economy is not even about waste. A circular economy is about sustainable materials management. It's about using resources more efficiently. It's about how we design our products. It aims to decouple economic growth from the use of natural resources. And I would argue that a circular economy is about keeping resources in flow for as long as possible at their maximum value. I think you would agree as well that the circular economy is a hot topic at the moment right now. We see it in discourses around the world, in the language of governments, of business. It's driving policy change, it's driving innovation, it's driving business models. But importantly, and this point was mentioned by a previous speaker this morning as well, it's important that we domesticate this concept of a circular economy for our countries, because we can't necessarily plug and play what works for one country to another. And so as we consider how we domesticate a circular economy for us, there are always a number of questions that I keep getting asked. Is the circular economy relevant for developing countries? In fact, is the circular economy relevant for resource-rich countries with strong mining-based economies? Does the circular economy provide us with an opportunity to address our waste management challenges and the associated environmental impacts that we're seeing? Does the circular economy provide us with an opportunity to leapfrog the approaches and the technologies, the systems, the linear models that developed countries might already have in place? And how do we integrate all into this process, particularly in developing countries, the very large informal sector that earns a livelihood from the recovery of these resources? And so based on these questions, there are three particular areas that I want to focus on within the context of development and green industries. The first is around greening existing industries, improving their efficiency, competitiveness, and sustainability. And this applies at varying levels. It can apply at the level of business, at the level of a local authority, at the level of a country, at the level of a region. The second is around unlocking new business opportunities. And thirdly, to touch on creating entirely new business models. So let's go back to that definition that I put forward in terms of the circular economy, about keeping resources in flow, circular, for as long as possible at their maximum value. This issue of keeping resources in flow, of designing out waste, creates opportunities to improve resource efficiencies and competitiveness, reduce a business or a country or a region's dependency on resources and resource use. And in fact, this was also mentioned this morning, and I'm sure we will hear more about this over the coming days, the initiatives under UNIDO and the various national cleaner production centers around the world, the excellent work that's being done in resource efficient and cleaner production. We see the in-plant RECP tools, the assessments, but another key one that we need to touch on is the issue of industrial symbiosis, where one industry's waste becomes another's raw material, of keeping resources in flow for as long as possible at their maximum value. In fact, industrial symbiosis has been shown to be a very useful tool for harnessing opportunities for circularity, keeping these resources in flow, designing out waste, achieving material cost savings. And if I can draw on the example from South Africa of the South African Industrial Symbiosis Program, which after only 3 years of implementation has been able to create over $6 million of economic value for the country, improving industry efficiency in the process and freeing resources back up into the local economy. The second point that I want to touch on is around creating new businesses. And going back to that definition of a circular economy, keeping resources in flow at their maximum value. And these 2 points, in flow at maximum value, creates incredible opportunity for innovation, for new enterprise development, for improved management of resources. Now, there are various ways that we can go about identifying these opportunities for circularity. We can look at opportunity waste streams that we might have in our business, our local authority, in our country. We could look at opportunity sectors where there's greatest material demand. Or we could look at opportunity activities within the circular economy. So I'd like to explore 3 particular waste streams which are a specific problem for Africa, and I think for many developing countries around the world. The first one is, how do we create a circular plastic economy? South Africa, for example, is a net importer of virgin polymer, of plastic. Yet nearly 60% of the plastic that we use is lost to the economy post-use. In other words, it's sent to landfill or it's lost through leakage into the environment. So from a balance of trade perspective, it doesn't make sense that we're importing resources, using them, and then simply disposing the majority of those resources to the environment. If we could just harness the opportunities of collection and reintroduce that viable polymer back into the economy, we could create significant socio-economic opportunities. But as I've noted, if we can get the economics of the system right, because unfortunately, as in many developing countries, it is still too cheap to landfill our waste. The second issue is how we create circularity in metals. Again, as with plastic, South Africa is a net importer of electrical and electronic equipment. Yet 89% of the e-waste that we generate is lost to the economy, either stored in businesses, houses, garages, warehouses, basements. And what we do collect, we simply dismantle, we extract the printed circuit board, we cherry pick the metals, we shred it, we put it into a container and we export it to somewhere in the world where it's beneficiated, thereby losing access to those resources and the associated jobs that go together with that. In fact, research that's been conducted shows that remanufacturing, repair, reuse of end-of-life electrical and electronic equipment has much greater economic benefit for small businesses than current recycling approaches. And thirdly, the issue of creating a circular nutrients economy, of dealing with the significant volumes of organic waste, industrial biomass, organic fraction municipal solid waste generated in developing countries. 65% of the organic fraction municipal solid waste, almost 100% of industrial biomass is still disposed of to land in South Africa, and I would argue the same for many countries in Africa. There is a significant opportunity, therefore, for developing countries to recover this organic waste stream and to harness the potential that it has through various technology solutions, whether it be through composting, anaerobic digestion and biogas recovery, whether it be through advanced biorefinery. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what happened to my presentation. Here we go. Thank you. In fact, according to the UN's recently published Africa Waste Management Outlook, only 4% of the waste generated in Africa is recycled, and very often by a large and active informal waste sector. Every year in South Africa, $1.2 billion worth of resources are lost to the economy through disposal to landfill. Viable polymer, metal, nutrients, which are lost to the economy. In fact, in the Africa Outlook, we note that by diverting just 6 waste streams away from landfill towards reuse, recycling, and recovery, we could inject an additional $8 billion into the continent's economy every year, simply by changing the way that we think about waste, to change our paradigm around waste as a resource. I always say waste is just simply a resource in the wrong place. And by doing this, by changing our paradigm, we create the opportunity, we unlock these socio-economic opportunities for countries, for businesses. At the same time, we address these environmental impacts that we're seeing across the continent. The increasing impact of single-use plastics, and the response to this has been a consideration of bans for single-use plastics across the continent. We know that there's a direct correlation between uncontrolled dumping like this and disease within the region, issues of malaria, Zika, cholera outbreaks. We see flooding. We've seen devastation from flooding of stormwater drains that have been blocked by the disposal of waste. We also see significant environmental and human health impacts associated with the informal dismantling and reprocessing of electronic waste on the continent, causing significant impacts. The second way, in terms of identifying opportunities for circularity, is to look at where the greatest demand for materials is within the economy, to take a sector-based approach. In fact, if you look at the recently published circular economy analysis that was conducted for India in 2016, published by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and just recently, within the past month, the report that was published for China, these reports are not focused on waste. They are focused on where in the economy the greatest demand for materials is. The Indian report focuses on 3 areas: cities and construction, mobility and manufacturing, and food and agriculture. The China report focuses on 3 of those same. It focuses on the built environment, mobility, and nutrition. And in addition, it adds 2 additional areas to that. It looks at textiles and electronics. And at the heart of these circular economy analyses, I would argue, sit 2 of our SDGs. SDG 9 around inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and SDG 11 around creating circular cities. I think that both of these reports also point out that we're now at a point where we no longer have to choose between economic development and environmental protection or conservation. These reports clearly show that by adopting a circular economy development pathway, it has much greater and far more beneficial socio-economic benefits than traditional linear trajectories. Another way of identifying these opportunities is by using a materials flow analysis, for example, as a tool. This study that was recently conducted on the European Union 28 member states shows, for example, still how linear the EU economy actually is. But what it does do is it highlights areas of intervention. It highlights where in the economy we can start to implement circular economy initiatives to take action. An additional aspect that I want to touch on is the importance of innovation in creating these new business opportunities. We heard today the importance of human capital development, of research and development, of innovation, of unlocking these new opportunities, of keeping resources at their maximum value. And I want to touch on just a few examples here. The first example is around significant quantities of sawdust, which are being created from rather inefficient paper and pulp industries and processes in southern Africa. Now, the traditional route of dealing with this waste stream might have been to take it into a low-value product, something like compost, or into energy production. But through research and development being conducted in the biorefinery industry development facility, this waste stream is now being taken forward into a high-value product, xylitol. Anyone who drinks a cool drink with artificial sweetener would know that there's a significant demand for xylitol, and it still boggles my mind how you can take sawdust and create an artificial sweetener from it. But a high-value product like xylitol, creating opportunities, recovering pine oil, nanocrystalline cellulose fibers, which are also sought after by various industries. Another example is chicken feather waste. Significant quantities of chicken feathers being produced in Africa, which could have gone to low-value products like animal feed or compost, but instead, through research and development, is being taken into keratin powder, a protein which has high value. There's also work being done to take it into biocomposites, which are being sought after, again, by various industries, including the automotive industry. A third one is food waste, the significant quantities of food waste that we generate globally. An estimated 1/3 of all the food that we produce is lost or wasted. Again, it could have gone into low-value compost or bioenergy, but through work that's being developed, through research developed by the company AgriProtein, they're able to take this into high-value products, recovering protein from it, which has the opportunity to replace traditional land-based grains or marine-captured fish meal. And three particular products that they're producing: insect-based protein, extracted fat, oil, and residual soil conditioner. And currently, as we speak, this company is setting up facilities in other regions as well, not only in Southern Africa. The fourth example that I have is to highlight that it's not just about technological innovation, but also a very important role for social innovation to play as well. If we take the example of e-waste, as I mentioned, we extract the printed circuit boards, we shred them, we send them for recycling elsewhere. But we've also highlighted that, in fact, there's greater socio-economic benefit by repairing, remanufacturing, reusing these end-of-life appliances. And so we create the skills, the enterprises, the startups to address and to recover this value through reusing these end-of-life appliances. Supporting and developing social entrepreneurs, creating jobs through various sectors, not just ICT, but in automotive and appliances as well. Reskilling and upskilling is key to how we transition to the circular economy, to build capacity, human capital development in remanufacturing, refurbishment, repair, and reuse. And thirdly, I want to touch on the opportunity to create entirely new business models. And we could probably have a session or a day perhaps on each of these, but I just very briefly want to touch on this issue. Keeping the resources in flow at their maximum value and how this translates to the new kid on the block, the issue of the sharing economy. It's this complete paradigm shift around how we think about resources, how we think about products. It's moving away from a model of ownership to one of resource sharing, of product as service, access over ownership. And if you look at both the India and the China circular economy reports, at the heart of the mobility sector is around a shift to a sharing economy when it comes to transportation and mobility. But what this also highlights under the sharing economy is how important it is to revisit issues around regulation and policy and economic instruments, how we consider labor within this sharing economy. We see incredible examples, and I've just touched on one here, but wonderful examples of startups that are popping up around the world in the sharing economy. I love this example. Could you imagine every month having an entirely new wardrobe that you don't own? That you pay a service to belong to this platform and you essentially rent your clothes. And every month you can hand them back and change them out for something new. It changes the way we think about fashion and the clothing industry and textiles, considered to be one of the most polluting industries in the world. There is a very strong business case for the circular economy, as I think I've highlighted throughout this presentation. We've seen strong commitments being made from businesses. In fact, in Davos, we saw commitment by 11 large big brand owners that all of their packaging would be 100% reusable, recyclable, or compostable by 2025. We see other big brand owners making their commitments clear in terms of taking the circular economy forward. And if you look at this report by the Business and Sustainable Development Commission, they've identified resource recovery and circular models within the 60 biggest market opportunities related to delivering the SDGs. In fact, circular economy manufacturing is listed number 6 in the 12 largest business themes in a world economy heading for the global goals. It makes good business sense. It also creates incredible opportunities for job creation and enterprise development. We can see these figures in the graph. Unfortunately, they're now somewhat outdated, and I think it's important that we start putting new numbers to this. But for every 1 job per 1,000 tons in landfilling, we could in fact be creating 4 in composting, 25 in recycle-based manufacturers, and even more when we start to get to computer reuse, for example. As one moves away from landfilling towards recycling, reuse, repair, remanufacturing, the opportunities to create jobs increases significantly. And those are the direct jobs. There are also opportunities to create indirect and induced jobs. And in fact, for developing countries, I would suspect that these numbers are even higher, given the fact that we're driving very labor-intensive approaches. Certainly for a country like South Africa, the circular economy provides an opportunity to address the triple burden of poverty, inequality, and unemployment through social inclusion. But we also have to realize that there are potential constraints and impacts on developing countries in transitioning to a circular economy. Most developing countries, and certainly South Africa, has very little control over what a product looks like, given the fact that we are a net importer, for example, of electrical and electronic equipment. We have very little say as to whether a product is designed for circularity. If you look at Nigeria, 95% of cars are second-hand. 80% of electronic products are second-hand. What happens to these products at end of life once they are in Africa if they are not designed for recyclability, for circularity, if they're not designed for repair? We sit with the waste stream then that we can do nothing with. It's therefore critical that product design and designing for circularity is a key issue in green industries throughout the world. The other key point to highlight is that what happens somewhere else could impact those countries with very heavy mining-based economies. The Center of Expertise of Resources published a report in 2016 which highlighted the impact of the European Union moving to a circular economy on countries around the world. And I've highlighted just the top 10 countries with strong mining and export-based economies and the percentage that those exports make of their GDP. The Netherlands, for example, has set a goal of halving its use of primary raw materials by 2030 and to move to a fully circular economy by 2050. What is the knock-on effect of these goals on other countries? And so therefore it's critically important that as we transition to the circular economy, that we look as well at how countries build resilience, resilience to natural and to economic shocks. We've seen, for example, the impact that China closing the door on certain recyclables has had globally, with many countries left wondering, what do we do with our recyclables now? Thankfully, in South Africa, through various voluntary and policy instruments, we've created some degree of resilience by investing in local end-use market development. Only around 3%, for example, of the paper and packaging generated is exported out of the country for recycling elsewhere, around keeping those resources and the jobs within our local economy. So finally, in wrapping up, I think that it's critical that we evidence this transition, coming back to the importance of data as we transition. Sound evidence, the role of research and development. It's important that we look at the big picture in the strategy that we develop. What resources do we currently have? What resources do we need to achieve our growth path, whether it be as a business, a local authority, a country? And what is our strategy to close the gap on current and future needs, considering the potential impacts that that transition will have on other economic sectors? The circular economy filters through every one of the SDGs. But I come back to my definition. The circular economy is not around waste. It's around sustainable materials management. And so that's why for me, SDG 12 really sits at the heart. The challenge for many developing regions, many of them staged to undergo radical growth and transformation over the coming decades. It's around how we find this balance between development on the one side and environmental protection on the other. And I do believe that the circular economy provides us with a very clear strategy of how to achieve this. And I certainly look forward to the discussions over the coming 2 days as we start to unpack what this means for our respective countries, our businesses, and our regions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Godfrey. I know you will, a number of participants have requested through Slido to receive the presentation of Professor Godfrey. Her and all other presentations will be up. We have now a poll which will take you 30 seconds to respond to if you are logged on to Slido. Can we see the polling questions, please? This is about giving your opinion. Will you please put up the poll? Okay, I'm sorry, we are not ready, it seems. Are we ready? No. Yeah. So in the meantime, please open your browser and write www.slido and you will see a screen. And from that screen, you can write the hashtag, next to the hashtag, GIC5, and you will be in the software. Okay, and you will see the first question. Are you seeing it? The question is circular economy relevant for developing countries? Yes or no? Please vote now. We cannot see it on the screen, but you will see the result. Please show your vote. Is circular economy relevant for developing countries? Yes or no? When you've done that, please go on to the second question. Does circular economy provide an opportunity to leapfrog linear models and technologies adopted by developed countries? Yes or no? Does circular economy provide an opportunity to leapfrog linear models and technologies adopted by developed countries? Yes or no? I am sorry, we are not being able to show it to you, but then push send. We will show it to you afterwards. So, with that, I would like to proceed with this session. Sorry about the delays. We will try to cover this delay up. I would like to invite Mr. Stein Hansen, who is our Regional Hub Director for Asia Pacific and the head of our UNIDO office in Thailand. Please.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As the regional director and temporarily the master of ceremonies for this particular segment, it is my great honor to raise the matter of the celebration of the UNIDO's 50th anniversary of cooperation with Thailand. On this occasion, UNIDO and the Ministry of Industry will present a joint communiqué. Then shortly after, UNIDO and the Federation of Thai Industries will sign a joint declaration. Today, at the 5th Green Industry Conference, we are witnessing the fruits of the joint efforts of the Ministry of Industry of Thailand and the UN, represented by UNIDO and UN SCAP. This is a testament to the success of our long-term partnership, and I would like to congratulate all partners for making this possible. On the occasion of this latest successful endeavor, I would like to thank the government of Thailand and especially the Ministry of Industry for the continued support to and partnership with UNIDO over the last 50 years. Happy 50th anniversary. The past half-century has seen many successes and many challenges. Above it all, it has been privileged to have a strong commitment to deliver results in this cooperation between UNIDO and Thailand. I'm confident that this relationship will be long-lasting and that there will be very exciting times ahead of us. As much as there will be many new challenges, I am confident that every one of them will be won over by our hard work, commitment, and dedication to bring about inclusive and sustainable industrial development in Thailand, as well as in the region and at a global level. Without further ado, I would like to welcome UNIDO Director General, Mr. Lee Young, and Minister of Industry, His Excellency Uttama Savanayon, to exchange the joint communiqué to mark this golden anniversary. The minister has a small absence from the room. He will be here very shortly. Perhaps while we're waiting for the minister to return, we can go to the highlight of the 50th milestone by having UNIDO and the Federation of Thai Industries to sign a joint declaration to strengthen the cooperation in Thailand and in the region. The minister is arriving. So then let us go back to plan. So at this point in time, I would like to welcome the Director General, Mr. Lee Young of UNIDO and Minister of Industry, His Excellency Uttama Savanayon, to exchange the joint communique to mark this golden anniversary of relations. Thank you. On this occasion, to highlight the 50th year's milestone, UNIDO and the Federation of Thai Industries are signing a joint declaration to strengthen our joint cooperation in Thailand and in the region. I would like to invite Mr. Lee Young to provide his remarks to introduce the new partnership with the Federation of Thai Industries. Director General.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor, pleasure to be here to celebrate 50 years of UNIDO-Thailand relationship. I want to thank all of those in attendance here today whose cooperation has made our partnership strong and productive over the decades, and our guests witnessing this celebration on the occasion of the 5th edition of the Green Industrial Conference, organized jointly by UNIDO, ASCAP, and in collaboration with Ministry of Industry of the Kingdom of Thailand. Colleagues, friends, Thailand is a unique country with a national character rooted in the deeper appreciation of the traditional beliefs. UNIDO applauds the great stride forward that Thailand has made over the years. UNIDO-Thailand relations started in 1968. The King Raman IX, and under the guidance of the Ibrahim Henry Abdul Rahman, and the first executive director of UNIDO. In 1985, the first General Conference of UNIDO as a specialized agency met and elected Domingo L. Ciazon Jr. Philippines as its Director General. 2 years later, in November 1987, the second UNIDO General Conference was held here in Bangkok. The first resolution adopted during the conference was on the strengthening economic and technical cooperation among developing countries, what we now call South-South cooperation, which is still today an important part of UNIDO's work. In his statement, the president of the Second General Conference of UNIDO expressed admiration for the spirit of cooperation consensus that prevailed during the conference, wished for the positive spirit of meeting to be cherished by the participants, heading back home. I'm very happy to confirm that the spirit of a congeniality and a mutual understanding is still at the core of the collaboration between Thailand and UNIDO. This is a brief history about the relationship between us for 50 years. And over these 50 years, UNIDO and Thailand have collaborated on a wide range of industrial development initiatives, including support for development of industry-specific sectors. UNIDO and Thailand have also cooperated closely on the policy and planning with the establishment of Industrial Estate Authority and development of industrial standards. Since 2007, through the cooperation with Global Environmental Fund, UNIDO has been able to secure over $20 million for national, regional, global projects in Thailand. These funds have been used to fulfill Thailand's commitments to multilateral environmental agreements to improve industrial efficiency, energy efficiency, to increase South-South technology transfers, and to prevent the release of toxic chemicals. The most recent success of our partnership is the latest UNIDO-JEF project in Thailand. This project aimed at greening the scrap metal value chain by reducing the release of unintentional persistent organic pollutants with a total budget of over $38 million. The project was approved by Cabinet just last month, September, and will be formally launched the next month, November 2018, over the next 5 years. The project will mitigate 750 million tons of CO2s and reduce the level of toxicity and a significant environmental pollutants released from recycling facilities. Thailand is one of the great development success stories. Due to the smart economic policies, it has made a remarkable progress in socio-economic development, moving from the low-income country to an upper-middle-income country in less than a generation. Going forward, the sustained pace and quality of reform, as well as sound implementation, will be crucial to achieve desired development outcomes in line with Thailand's sufficiency economy philosophy. The core mission of UNIDO in Thailand has never been more relevant. UNIDO's system approaches in support of inclusive and sustainable industrial development are fit for the future, and a growing commitment to expand the UNIDO's partnership with Thailand speaks for the trust placed in the organization. I'm very proud to also see that Thailand continues to value its partnership with UNIDO, and during my visit in September last year, Minister Uttama I agreed to strengthen this partnership towards implementing Thailand's Industry 4.0 policy and work together in the region to achieve SDGs. And UNIDO continue to support Thailand in implementing its new economic model, Thailand 4.0 industry transformation. UNIDO's support extends to the effort to move Thailand to an innovative, value-based, circular economy. UNIDO also supports efforts to boost inclusive growth and sustainable development, as well as to further integrate the economy in the regional global value chains. UNIDO will continue working with Thailand in reducing the environmental impact of industrial development by targeting greenhouse gas emissions, establishing eco-industrial parks, and implementing Stockholm Convention, the global treaty protecting human health and the environment from persistent organic pollutants. Colleagues, friends, Thailand's growing role in the Asia-Pacific region will be supported by establishment of Investment Technology Promotion Office of UNIDO. This is an issue or will be seriously considered by the Kingdom of Thailand, also Ministry of Industry, and Capacity Building Knowledge Distribution Center for the region. There are 9 UNIDO ITPO centers worldwide. As such, the ITPO office in Thailand to be established will have a great potential to support our joint activities in the country and in Asia-Pacific region and beyond. UNIDO continues to support Eastern Economic Corridor Office in facilitating the dialogue among industry stakeholders to promote sustainable industrial development in Thailand and the Southeastern Asian countries. The emphasis of UNIDO activities of cooperation partnership may change and reflect Thailand's evolving need, but as always, our work will continue to be guided by the same principles of sustainability and inclusiveness. Once again, I just would like to thank our partners in Thailand for your cooperation over the last half century. You have helped to make UNIDO's partnership with Thailand a resounding success. Looking forward, colleagues, friends, UNIDO is eager to keep providing a dynamic support which will benefit the people of Thailand. 50 years is a milestone. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an occasion to celebrate, an opportunity to look back with pride, but more importantly, to look at the guide to map our future. This is what we want to see, the strong partnership and a strong and successful result to be achieved through this important cooperation with this important country in the region. Thank you very much for joining us to celebrate this 50 years anniversary of cooperation between Kingdom of Thailand and the UNIDO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director General Lee Yong. I would now like to invite Mr. Supan Monkonsuntri to give his remarks.
Your Excellency Dr. Uttama Sawanayon, Director General of UNIDO, Mr. Liu Yong, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to be here and this signing of the joint delegation between UNIDO and the Federation of Thai Industry. This special occasion would strengthen our close cooperation in driving forward the main driver, which are prerequisites to our two organizations. The FTI is a focal point of 45 industry clubs, 74 provinces, and 9 specialized institutes, such as the Water and Environment Institute for Sustainability, the Small and Medium Industrial Institute. The FTI is very much honored to future cooperate with UNIDO in various fields, namely Industry 4.0, Factory 4.0 Initiative, Eco-Industry Trials, Eco-Factory Initiative, and SME development. At this junction, I am very pleased to be a part of the signing of this joint delegation on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of UNIDO cooperation with Thailand, which interestingly aligns with the 50th anniversary of FTI in 2017. And this special milestone, I very much look forward to enhance our concrete cooperation in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Supan, for your kind words. Now, let's proceed to the signing of the joint declaration. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of UNIDO-Thailand cooperation and for the new partnership with the Federation of Thai Industries. I will now give the floor back to Ms. Tas as Master of Ceremony for the 5th Green Industry Conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen. I am now going to make the announcement. All of you have been waiting with about half an hour delay. We can now make a break, a networking break. And I suggest we shorten the 30-minute break to about 15, maximum 20 minutes. And let us come here so that we are not very late for the break for lunch. Thank you very much. Please do not forget to register for field trips. Thank you.
That is true at the G20.
This will be very busy. I talk to you later.
I'll check 1, 2.
I just want to say, very good start. No worries, that's fine. One thing. Maybe, okay. Announce it, that would be great. Like end of today when you, that would be brilliant. It's going to be at the public foyer as well. Yeah, I'm going to, because of the late organisation, I publicize it. That's right. Of course, you can't print it. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. I'll catch you later.
How long is gas? What's the plan? Procuring it.
Exactly. Because now this is done, right? And then they will use the tables for
Audio check 1, 2 1 2 ทดสอบ1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 One, two, one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. One, two, one, two, one, two, audio. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. สีส้มเบาจังเช็คเช็ค audio check 1, 2 my check 1, 2 1, 2 1, 2 ออกแล้วพอปะ audio check 1, 2 1, 2 1, 2 1, 2เอ๊ะทำไม1 2 audio check ตัวเนี้ย เช็คหนึ่งสองหนึ่งสองหนึ่งสองหนึ่งสอง หนึ่งสองหนึ่งสองเช็คเป็นปะหนึ่งสองสามสี่ออเดอร์เช็ค
ไอ้ไม้ก้านยาวไม่ค่อยดี
เช็คเช็คหนึ่งสองออเดอร์เช็ควันทู
สัญญาณมันไม่ดีอ่ะไปปิด
ดูเถอะ
เช็คเช็ควันทูทดสอบหนึ่งสองเช็คเช็ค test 1 2 my test 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2จริงๆมีแปลแค่ไทยกับอังกฤษใช่ไหมดูจากชื่อเราไม่มีใครมีคนไทยคนเดียวแต่เป็นทูตเก็บปะเป็นทูตไทยเป็นเดี๋ยวผมวิ่งเอาไปให้อะไรหนึ่งคนเนี้ยต้นฝากดูด้วยออเดอร์เช็ค1 2 1 2ทดสอบ1 2ม่วงฟ้าเขียวส้มไม่เช็ค1 2ออเดอร์เช็ค1 2
your speech with the paper or free discussion?
Just for me, it will be free discussion. Actually, it was explained by a moderator now, but we will ask him to come explain time because the last question
We stay there or?
No, we sit here.
Secretary's translation issue. Who's dealing with them? Somebody has to. We are starting the session in 5 minutes. Well, the State Secretary, you have to put her somewhere where she can do the translation. And they need earphones on the stage. Yes, yes.
Just one minute, so he's not speaking. And he wouldn't speak here, so we have one chair vacant.
Parenthesis. Shveitsariya. Shutla Shilkira, it's proposing. Professor in Lausanne Hamasaran. Industrial ecology. Okay. Ecological parts, industrial symbiosis. Askaneric study. David? Love. You need to write shortcut study. Eco-industrial part programmer. Okay. Last time it's after the program, right? Yeah. Yes, it's like Korea. Шатла, это Швейцария, как? Это Женева Герта. Да. Ура Ханса.
The second round. But you can support your speech first. Let's see. ควรจะเข้ามาใกล้แต่ว่ายังไงอยากให้บอกสองอย่างได้เราควรจะไม่เกินไป
Back and then everyone moves one step there because there will be one empty seat on the side. If that is the case, sorry. Yes, if everyone moves one step in that direction, yeah, because this seat will be empty. There will be one empty seat. Cambodia will not be speaking in this session. Sorry. Okay. Or actually.
You say that they will order this, it would be let's see all
You want I can
keep pressing. Oh, I got it.
Should I move it out?
Yeah, that would be nice. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, I think we are about ready to start again. This session is a high-level plenary session of ministers, vice ministers, and state secretaries from various ministries in the region and outside. And they will share key points relevant to the development of green industries in their national contexts, with focus on opportunities and challenges to us regarding green industrial development. Our session will be moderated by His Excellency Mr. Songsak Saichio, former ambassador and permanent representative of Thailand to the United Nations in Vienna. And in the order, in the alphabetical order, according to protocol, we have three ministers. His Excellency Mr. Eric Grigoryan, Minister of Nature Protection, Armenia. His Excellency Amir Hussein Amu, Minister of Industry, Bangladesh. His Excellency Mr. U King Maung Cho, Minister of Industry, Myanmar. His Excellency Mr. Artan Shkreli, Deputy Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, Albania. Her Excellency Ms. Bongkham Borachit, Vice Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, Lao PDR. And His Excellency Mr. Engpat Daijin, State Secretary, Ministry of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry, Mongolia. With that, if I may, I turn the session over to Ambassador Saichio, please.
Thank you so much. First of all, let me express my profound thanks to UNIDO and Ministry of Industry of Thailand, including the co-organizers, for inviting me to be the moderator of this very interesting and important session, high-level plenary regional perspective on green industry policy, which is a kind of the first session to give the guidance to other subsequent sessions. We are very honored And I think very good opportunity that we have the high-level representatives, the ministers, and policy makers from 6 governments at the moment presenting at the panel. So all the ministers will will give a talk, will inform us of the status of green industrial development, green industry policy, the implementation, the success and challenges in their respective countries. And also the minister may inform us, describe the way forward on how to move forward on the implementation of the green industry policy and also addressing all the remaining challenges. And we have the representative, the ministers from 4 regions, which is, I think, will very much represent the diversity of the views and the experiences. So we have ministers from Eastern Europe, from South Asia, from Southeast Asia, and also from East Asia. The topic, regional perspective on green industry policy, will based on the Green Industry Initiative by UNIDO since 2009, which paved the way for the policy formulation, the devising of policy tools, and also creating the environment conducive to the green industry development. And the session today, as I mentioned, we will try to learn from all the ministers, their respective government on how they implement the policy, what are the priority policy tools, what are the green industry infrastructure, and also other instruments to enable the green industry development in their countries, and what are the challenges, as I mentioned earlier. For the first round, I will ask each minister to kindly give the introductory intervention for about 7 to 8 minutes, since we are a little bit far behind the schedule, so we will not have the full time as planned earlier. So each minister, please kindly make the introductory speech or intervention for 7 to 8 minutes. And it will follow by a Q&A session. So I may ask 1 or 2 questions, and then I will pick up the question from the participant from the audience. So please feel free to use the app, send your question to the Slido. So we will pick up your question from that. And then we will follow by the polling question, 1 or 2 questions prepared by the Secretariat. And I ask you to kindly vote on the question. And I will also, maybe if time allows, ask each minister to end their remark or presentation by 1 sentence, concluding remark. So this is the scenario we are going to go through. For the introductory intervention, there will be 3 main questions that I will ask each minister to inform us. The first one is the national policy, the sectoral plan, the national policy tools, and so on, that enable each country to create the conducive conditions to implement the green industries development and practices. And also the second one, some ministers may also highlight the policy that will help to reduce the resource use, and also the creation of the new business model or new business opportunities. And the third one would be the public-private partnership, including the people, civil society participation. So the introductory speech or remarks or intervention will center on those 3 questions. May I start by asking the Minister of Nature Protection from Armenia, His Excellency Mr. Eric Grigoryan, to give the intervention speech, which will cover, I think, the 3 questions, and he may also touch upon how the Armenian government dealing with the plastic question as well. So the Minister, please.
Thank you very much, distinguished Chair, Your Excellencies, Ministers, Delegates. First of all, I would like to thank Kingdom of Thailand for hosting this conference and UNIDO for giving chance to talk about our policies and our actions related to green industry and green economy. I will separate my speech in 2 parts, one on general policy and another particular case related to plastic. So general case is that we strongly believe that environment, economic and social components and policies are not separated anymore. And there is no possibility to succeed if you are organizing any kind of actions and activities without considering other components, social and economic. At the same time, our government consider poverty as one of the main environmental problems, and we believe that poverty reduction may support the policies not only in social sector but also in environment and in economic sector. So environmental issues are correlated with the quality of human lives and economic and social situations, and current government program is considered to harmonize environment, social and economic aspects. I am not going to go in details to explain different aspects of the policy related to mining activities or water resource management or public-private partnership or other legislation initiatives that we are now considering, but I would like to talk a little bit about single-use plastic banning issues. Our government announced that Armenia is going to ban single-use plastic, and it will take several steps. In the first stage, we selected a community and started actions as a field and as a pilot project to start to talk with the people. After several activities that we did in this community, we saw that the society supporting our initiative with single-use plastic banning, and we already initiate legislative changes to have payments, special payments for the first stage for single-use plastic and especially for plastic bags. The second stage will take one region, not a community but region, and once we will be successful with the region, then we will incorporate all these activities in a country. It's important to mention that as a landlocked country without access to sea, our initiative to start to ban single-use plastic was not supported from all of stakeholders, taking into consideration that single-use plastic is not the main problems in the environmental sector of country, because of the mining activities and the water resource management activities. But we believe that the process with the single-use banning, single-use plastic banning is not only about the plastic but about behavior. And once society is starting to consider environmental activities and environment behavior, then it's changed related to different other aspects, not only the plastic, but also sustainable use of water resources and other kind of resources. About the policies that we are implementing now, I would like to mention only 2 points. It's promote efficient use of resource and cleaner production, industrial energy efficiency, efficient use of water resource industry, and creating regulatory framework for the development and enhancement of principles of green and circular economy. I would like also to mention one successful example of our implementation path is the world's first national SDG Innovation Lab that was opened recently in Armenia, and the lab is a result of close collaboration between government of Armenia and the United Nations. And the lab will identify implementation and funding gaps, introduce prototype solutions and new models of funding measures, the impact and raise country profile on public awareness. And one of the first stages of taken by SDG Innovation Lab was consultation related to preventing plastic bags and initiation of national media outreach, because we believe that any policy, any related to environment or economic should be coordinated and in parallel with the civil society and other stakeholders. And we believe in the long-term perspective, single-use plastic bags will be banned worldwide, and we believe that this process will not take more than a decade, but also hope that it will be shorter than we are expecting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Eric Grigorian. I think the Armenian experiences in basing the holistic approach on the linkage between environment and socio-economic aspect very much in line with the Green Industry Initiative of UNIDO since 2009. And the considerable progress of Armenia seems to focus on the energy efficiencies, the circular economy, and also the plastic issues, how to deal with the plastic problem, which in Thailand at the moment we also starting to discuss on how we can deal with this plastic problem also. I will ask the Minister of Industry from Bangladesh, Mr. Amir Hussain Abu, to kindly maybe address and also inform us about the national policy, the sectoral plan, and also maybe other government scheme to enable the Bangladesh economy to materialize the clean industry development. Minister, please.
Mr. Moderator, fellow partners, distinguished delegates, a very good morning to you all. Let me begin my convening my heartiest thanks and gratitude to the organizers of the 5th Green Industry Conference, particularly the government, the leadership of UNIDO and UNESCO for inviting me to this important event in the beautiful city of Bangkok. We considered the theme of this conference, Green Industry for Sustainable Development, significantly important and timely in the context of the coming together of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals and the historic Paris Agreement on climate change, especially in the age of the 4th Industrial Revolution. Dear delegates, Bangladesh industrial growth and sustainable development philosophy is inspired by the Golden Bengal vision of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and guided by the Vision 2021 of our dynamic leader, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, bracketed as one of the Asian growth tigers. Bangladesh is striving relentlessly to attain the delicate balance between a sustained economic growth rate of 7.6% in our 165 million plus population and our national sustainable development and green growth agenda. The task becomes even more challenging as Bangladesh continues to remain one of the most climate vulnerable countries in the world under the threat of the nearly 10 million people to be displaced by inundation with global sea levels rises. And yet, this remains our greatest motivation to remain politically highly committed to contribute to global mitigation efforts and green growth initiatives to the extent possible in accordance with our capacities and national circumstances. Bangladesh is thus working closely with UNIDO towards achieving a lower carbon and climate resilient sustainable development agenda. We have been investing a huge amount of domestic resources to carry forward the green industry activities meaningfully with the national policies, strategies, and master plans. Environment policy of 1992, the National Industrial Policy 2016, the Renewable Energy Policy 2008, the National Sustainable Development Strategy created in 2016, National 3-Year Strategy for Waste Management 2009, Bangladesh Climate Change Strategy and Action Plan out National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Master Plan, etc. Few of the most important instruments guiding our green industry and sustainable development vision. Our intent that a nationally determined sustainable development vision, our intended nationally determined contribution submitted before Paris Climate Conference presented mitigation actions that Bangladesh can take to tackle its emission and to play its role in global efforts to limit temperature rise well below 2.6, sustain our economic growth rates of 7.8 and above with a green industrial growth. Carbon emission is negligible. Ladies and gentlemen, in Bangladesh, the private sector too is playing an important role in the greening of the industrialization of the country. Therefore, my ministry, the Ministry of Industries, has taken the role of facilitator. Government of Bangladesh has accepted private ownership and management of industrial enterprises as one of the major guiding forces in achieving economic growth and brought about widespread innovation and timely pro-green industrial reforms. The government of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has set up 100 eco-friendly special economic zone with a special green industry priority where private entrepreneurs from home and abroad would seize industrial growth enterprises profitably with government-sponsored compulsory green standards, including high-quality central ETP and water treatment plant facilities. We also remain conscious of the importance of financing of green industrialization as financing major challenge to overcome that through our central bank, our government is also actively pursuing a green financing and green banking policy to finance low carbon and resource efficient green industrial growth. We provide innovation incentives, especially for our micro, small, and medium enterprises. The SMEs, a special focus is being attached to the greening of the supply and valuable chains of our SMEs as a priority sector and a driving force for our robust growth and pro-green industrialization. As Bangladesh moves towards a high growth trajectory of 7.8 growth as world's number 2 ready-made general manufacturing country, our government has set high environmental standards for our apparel industry, requiring high-quality effluent system and compulsory use of solar rooftop panel for power. And the government has created special tax and financial incentives to bring major industries, including RMG and jute, under the clean development mechanism. Our national energy vision has provision of 15% of power to be generated from renewable energy sources, with a current nearly 10% from renewable sources. Bangladesh takes pride in its 4.5 million solar home systems, the highest in the world, especially as a green energy sources of our SMEs and marginalized coastal population micro entrepreneurs driven by fully solar power. We are strongly provide towards and finance 4 points. We look forward to working closely in partnership with UNIDO and the UN SCAP in instruction that have provided sustained policy and advocacy support to our government in our realizing our nation's aspires to transform into a green industry of sustainable development. I believe high growth and densely populated economies such as Bangladesh needs green technology transfers at affordable prices and also policy and financial support for greening of our existing industry in a sustainable manner. I thank you all and wish the 5th Green Industry Conference will success. Jai Bangla, Jai Bangla.
Thank you so much, Minister. Very impressive to learn that why Bangladesh has reached a very high growth rate of 7.65%, but at the same time, the Bangladesh government have working very hard in maintaining the environment and the green industry, the green economy. The Bangladesh government also highlight on the providing financial incentive, working on low carbon, the green standard, and also a high environmental standard, and so on. May I now turn to Minister from Myanmar, the Minister of Industries, His Excellency Mr. U Kin Mong Cho. We learned that Myanmar now working very much on the promotion of the public-private sector partnership and also the promotion of the use of renewable energy, including electric car. So, Minister, if you could kindly elaborate more on that. Please, Minister.
So, thank you very much, Excellency, Mr. Supant, for your kind arrangement for this session. And also let me greet all of you here in Myanmar language. That's in Myanmar style, greeting is a Mingalaba to you all. Mingalaba. That means a Saudi cup. So please let me explain a little bit about our Myanmar government's policies for the green industry. So the green industry is very important for the nowadays, not only for this, our country, Asian country, but for the whole world, because the climate change, as you know, is very significantly changed every day and worse and worse. So it is very important to turn around into the green industry as most as possible. So for our country, our green industry is already started maybe some years ago, not so far, but nowadays for any development, energy is the most important thing to start any kind of industry and services. So without any energy, we cannot conduct any kind of projects, or any human beings cannot live without any energy. So our Myanmar government policy is to start up the energy sector as most important thing with the green technologies. The green technologies is not easy to start up because it needs a lot of technologies and experiences. So we would like to share a lot of experiences from the other countries. So everybody have to share all their experiences and knowledges to apply it in the day-to-day life. So first of all, energy is the most important thing to start up. And again, second priority for our government is to change most of our factories in Myanmar in the PPP format, public-private partnership. That is very important right now because as I am a responsible minister for the industry, we have our own government-owned, state-owned industries all over 113 factories. Among them, 57 factories have been already transferred to the form of the private sector by the JV or long lease or maybe PPP form. But the rest, out of 113, that is exactly 56 factories, have to be privatized or to make PPP format as soon as possible. So it's a good opportunity, and thanks very much for the excellencies to arrange this meeting. So I have opportunities to declare our available factories to transform into the PPP form as soon as possible. So please let me explain back. About 1 year back, I've been here to come and discuss this matter to most of the Thai partners to start up in Myanmar. But unfortunately, that is not the right time to start most efficiently because there are some stringent rules to overcome. So we have the responsibility to change those, to clear it out. Nowadays, it is now almost clear everything. We can start up very easily. So exactly saying about 4 giant companies from Thailand already visited our factories, and they have the plan to start up as soon as possible. Nowadays, our parliament is now considering details for the peoples with the PPP format to transform all the factories as soon as possible. In that case, we need the green technologies and green industries to transform those factories into the very attractive for the environment. But especially for the industry, so we have a lot of pollutants coming from the industry, something like iron and steel, textile manufacturing, and construction of the buildings, materials, water supplies, and even larger food processing. They are not possible without adequate supply of energy and also for the green technologies. So that is very important for everybody here on the world. All resources are very limited. Of course, creativity is unlimited. So that is our logo to improve any kind of industries, more innovative involvement to create new technologies and also to create new jobs for our people. For the most important thing is there is one bottleneck among the workers. because in Myanmar it's a very low income right now, very low among all ASEAN countries. So they have been trapped for a long time. So we have to move them out from that trap. That is very important with the aids of the innovative ideas and technologies and very efficient use of the resources. So that is our duty to improve all the job creation and income to generate with industrialized agricultural transformation and green economy, green growth, and green SMEs also. So second priority for the Myanmar is, the third priority is for the SMEs, small and medium enterprises, to develop as soon as possible. It's almost 1 year already. We have started up again the SMEs in Myanmar. Right now we are doing very good progressive with the aids of some partner countries from Europe and also from East. So we can create new jobs for them. But the problem is the technologies and also for the treatment and the food processing to be able to match to the international standards. That is very important for the health also. So also the packaging and design and also the ideas, the creative idea to generate new products. That is very important right now because as Myanmar is too late in come into the, after the open up of the policy, so we are just lagging far behind. Of course, it's a good chance for us to learn a lot from our neighbor countries so we can avoid some kind of obstacles. There are a lot of challenges in Myanmar to change our industry. But anyway, we have no other choice that we have to move around our countries together with neighbor countries. So let me explain a little bit about the energy sector now. So that's for the SMEs or also with the MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises also, they need energies. So we have to generate energies in any kind of possible forms. It may be either wind, solar, or hydroelectric, or whatever. But nowadays, everything is changing very rapidly. The technology also very improved very fast. So for the electric vehicles, just like I like to mention, it's a very important criteria to start as soon as possible because everybody knows about there are very limited time for us to use the normal fuels for about over 30 or 40 years later. It may all run out. So we have to use another kind of fuels. That is very important. So we have to start. So that is a good chance for us, even though we are very far behind, we can start as soon as possible because everybody is starting now for the electric vehicles. So we have already connected with some manufacturers from Europe, mostly from Germany, Daimler-Benz, and also with Siemens, and also one group from Hungary. They have developed new electric bus, already successfully demonstrated and used day-to-day in Europe and also all over the world in some areas. So that is about over 500 buses already exported to India, but still for Sri Lanka we need a lot of 500 buses and also to the other countries or the ASEAN countries. That means altogether about over 1,200 buses to start as soon as possible. So we have signed the contract very soon. After the government have made the final decisions, so we are now under reviewing everything details, so we can be able to start up as soon as possible before the end of this year. So Myanmar has been going through a big transformation in political, economic, and now trying to incorporate the environmental with the respect policies for the economic development. That economic development is very important because we need to structure change towards a market economy throughout increasing local and foreign investments to be invited. And also the meantime, we are facing with the poverty, low agricultural productivity because of the lack of the technologies. So economic condition still highly depends on natural resources, which are rapidly degrading. So impact of climate change is very high. So natural capital and environmental conservations are critically important pillars for green economy and green growth. So that the value of natural capital and the economic benefits we derive from our rivers, forests, and lands, as well as the costs we incur from degrading our natural capital. So our development needs to incorporate the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, adopted in September 2015, such as to alleviate poverty, reduce, prevent hunger, eliminate, and also the stunt growth of the children, and to generate green technologies and green industries, and also the green wall. So the most important thing is that to reduce, reuse, and recycle, 3 Rs to be implemented. But very important thing is human resources. Without any skillful laborers and also the engineers and technicians, we cannot create those requirements in the systematically way. So in that case, we need 2 ways. One, standard to set up, to protect the people, also to regulate the import among the other taxations. So nowadays, any investors coming to Myanmar, they have suffered with that kind of stringent rules. So we have to relax a lot for the FDIs. Nowadays, they can be able to enjoy very freely. So we like to declare that Myanmar is now open up, not like before. We have to be hurry up because the time is too short for us, because our new government also have only 30 days left, 30 months left for the new government. So we have to transfer it to the new government, but we have to make some concrete and stable foundations for the people. So it's a time for us to start as soon as possible. So let me invite all of the interesting partners to come into Myanmar, and I will provide you the list, long list, about 56 factories with the different varieties, technologies, and also the different fields. So they have to privatize or maybe PPP transformation to be done, including steel industry starting up, and then going on to the textiles, and also with some pharmaceutical factories, and also garment and textile also. So we do have one eco-industrial park we have already started up between Yangon and Molimyang. It's between the long midway. So that industrial park, we have some Korean groups already started up their projects for the textiles and some treatment for the waste. So, and also for the rubber technologies, they bring up for the rubber, because of that is a rubber forest around there with some near the seaport. So it's a nice place to invest for the industry with the green technologies. So we'd like to share everybody to come and contact with us through our Myanmar embassy here. We will provide every data to everybody. So everybody can join us. We thank you very much for your kind interest. So couple markup, thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister, for very informative information, and also offer a lot of business and investment opportunities. So for those companies who are interested, I think can ask for more information from the government of Myanmar. The Myanmar approach seems in moving towards clean industry seems to start by focusing on the energy sector, the clean technology, and also the Myanmar government is now under the transformation of the industries into PPP, public-private partnership, and also the focusing on SMBs. So all of those definitely provide the interesting business opportunity and new opportunity for the companies and those who want to be the partner and doing business with the government of Myanmar to support the transformation into the clean economy, the clean industries of Myanmar. With that, I now turn to the Deputy Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, also from Albania, His Excellency Mr. Artan Shekeli. If you could kindly maybe focusing on the policy, the sectoral plan, the work plan, and also the policy tools in promoting the clean industries in Albania, including the energy development. Minister, please.
Thank you. Thank you, UNIDO General Director. Thank you, Minister of Kingdom of Thailand, that host us in this splendid city. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Countries of the Western Balkans are at a turning point in the development of their economies, societies, and development. Normally, industrial production in Albania makes a limited contribution to total GDP. Industrial production in our country is only 11%. That was in 2070. Manufacturing industry provides the main contribution to the economic value of production. This sector is maintained the lead industry sector revenue. The main activities include production of cement and construction materials, metals, in particular ferrochromic alloys, leather goods, textile goods for footwears, aluminium for construction, etc. But investments in modernization and clean technologies are not yet in place. Furthermore, there is oil industry that is presenting working in low capacity relative to the size of available oil fields. Albania owns two of the largest offshore oil fields of Europe. The largest is located in central Albania. The country has 2 refineries, but these refineries are not so efficient. The fuel products for industrial, transportation, residential, agricultural, and other public issues is entirely imported, mainly caused by its poor capacity to refine oil for production of liquid fuels. Priority investment should be rooted to innovation in production of specific products such as bitumen, etc. And all this will be made with a new vision. Mining industry is another kind of industry that is very important in our country. But the power energy production is the most important for the moment. Since 100% of Albania electrical power is produced by hydropower plants, the country is vulnerable because of its over-dependence on a single source of energy. The fluctuation of domestic production based on hydropowers is mainly associated with the availability of the rainwater. The stattal sector in energy produce 80% of our necessity, and 20% is covered by the private sector. But to resolve this question of dependency by the rainwater, the government is suing alternative kinds of industry for production the energy. However, the production is not yet sufficient to meet energy needs. The balance is therefore completed by the import of electric power in the moments that the rainwater is missing. One possible alternative for diversification of power production is the installation of a small-scale thermal power plant. This is projected to be filled with distillate fuel. Construction was completed, but now we are in a way to convert this kind of thermal power by working with diesel to the natural gas. And in this moment, we are in this process of converting and to create more clean energy for the country. The strategic picture for energy is completed with the construction of the Trans-Adriatic pipeline. That is a major project for the moment in Albania that is ending in this year, which was launched in May 2016, and still in process other 3 or 4 months. It will provide the country with direct access to natural gas. Natural gas will further increase the energy availability in Albania and will create a cleaner alternative fuel. The successful use of such a new source of energy, specific investment in building the gas network and providing necessary legislative framework for safe and economic access to gas for consumers. Awareness about opportunities for greening the economy is low in the industrial sector. Some investments are in promoting energy efficiency, directed also towards reducing the cost of production, are in place. Other measures, such as the use of renewable sources of energy production in improving capacity to reuse waste in production industry, are at initial stage of development for the moment. There is a trend to follow international best practice in manufacturing industry. Few companies apply the specific technical solution for reduction of water consumption. For example, the installation of closed-loop circuits for cooling water in industrial processes. And this is go very fast in some diverse industries. The new closed-loop systems can guarantee the reduction in water consumption of approximately 1/10 of the original values in open-loop circuits. The governments of Albania pay specific attention within policy documents and legislations to the needs to speed up the processes of innovation in the processing industry. There is a trend to follow, yes, these processes needs cooperation with other ministries, but has taken very few steps forwards because of economic constraints. Can be mentioned some achievements, results in following industry of cement, for example, or industry of steel production that is passing from diesel fuel to natural gas. The incinerators. I know that in UE legislations, the incinerators will be prohibited after 2020, but the government in Albania, in the framework of green industry, is proceeding the construction of 4 incinerators for waste treatment in a controlled manner through their combustions in different cities. Because we, for the moment, recycle only 15% of the waste, while the rest is treated in a primitive way. Incinerators are the fastest response to alarming situation in our country for elimination of urban waste and energy production through contemporary and environmentally friendly technologies. National policies, moreover, aims to promote renewable energy projects and furthermore improving industrial energy efficiency projects that will work on reducing GHG, greenhouse gases, emissions that will lead towards developing a low-carbon economy. Since 2011, Albania achieved significant progress in adoption of new modern environmental legislations. There has been mixed progress regarding the environmental monitoring since 2011. Albania has defined 160 national environmental parameters and indicators that are to be monitored. The prompt ratification of recent multilateral environment agreement, MEA, is evidence in the political importance that our governments attribute to being an engaged participant in international cooperation in environmental domain. Can be mentioned the signing of Paris Agreement of climate change by government. After that, Albania has entered a new era of international eliminate policy processes. in the climate policy, where the parties aims to mitigate the effect of climate change that is essential to guarantee the adoption of a reasonable economic, environmental, and social cost. Under this agreement, there are obligations for the country that emphasize the need to formulate the communicate long-term development strategies for greenhouse gas reduction by 2020. But there are some managed with the common framework references to the principles of green economy. Albania has taken a number of steps to include in its energy policy to requirements of the EU directives for the establishment and development of internal energy market and the promotion of production and consumption of renewable energy sources. One of the main objectives was to diversify its renewable energy sources to achieve political and macroeconomic security of energy production. This is also due to the advancement on electricity production from renewable sources by technology other than one can dominate in domestic electricity production, produced actually with hydro resource only, as well as the rapid reduction of electricity generating costs from solar energy, PV, and wind, aeolian energy, that are globally the main sources of energy capacity increase in the wholesale market. Specifically, the adoption of legal provisions for the effective implementation of the national energy strategy and further expands energy supply sources, focusing on the providing the incentives for energy efficiency and renewable energy production other than hydropower. The NRIP 2018-2020 takes into consideration the progress in the developing of these technologies towards these targets, and in fine adjusts them accordingly to ensure the achievements of the national target of RES consumption 38% in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Some of the interesting points over there. Now moving from the so-called old traditional industries to alternative industries that can use green technology more effectively, and also have done a lot on the promotion of low carbon economy, legislations, indicators, and also the multilateral agreement to promote the green industries. I now would like to turn to the Vice Minister of Natural Resources and Environment from Lao PDR, Her Excellency Ms. Bunkam Vorachit. Since the Minister coming from the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, if you could kindly maybe tell us the Lao PDR experiences in working on the synergy between industries and how to promote linkage between industry and environment, and also other key policies implementation. Minister, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. His Excellency Ambassador Somsak Saychua, Honorable Minister, Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Government of Lao PDR, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations and thanks to the Government of Lojo of Thailand and the UNIDO and ESCAP for the invite us here and converting of this important conference under the slogan of a green industry. I would like to share with the national policy and sectoral plan, the country creates productive conditions to transform existing industry and promote new green industries. Since the end of the 20th century, many countries, including Lao PDR, has accelerated the economic development and expansion of industry without taking consideration of environment, causing unsustainable use of natural resources, generate waste materials, causing impact to depression and negative impact on natural resources, ecosystem, and biodiversity, and climate change as well as human health. With strong commitment on global goals and agreements such as SDGs, Paris Agreement, and endeavor of achieving sustainable development among further the green economy, the government of Laos has adopted the 2030 agenda for sustainable development, which includes set 17 sustainable development goals, and our government also agrees put one more national SDG goal for reducing the impact of unexplored. So in totally, our Lao implement SDG is the 18 goals. And 2030 agenda has been adopted and mainstreamed into the National Vision 2030 and 10-year strategy 2016-2025 and the 8-year and the 8th 5-year plan socio-economic 2016-2020. The National Vision 2030 and 10-year strategy, the main focus includes Laos. PDR will become a developing country with upper middle income to achievements on green and sustainable economic growth. And availability of strong industry foundation and infrastructure system for industrialization and modernization transformation. Achieve socialist market economy, effective environmental protection for our sustainable natural resource management, and achievement industrialization and modernization. The 5-year National Socio-Economic Development Plan is set through that the country is developed out of the status of LDC, Least Development Country, by 2020 to the continuous, inclusive, along with sustainable growth and green growth developments. Maximum effective management and utilization of natural resources. The development enhanced through the national potential and advantage, participated in regional and international integration with the ownership. One of 3 outcomes needed to achieve the overall objective of the 5-year plan is to protect the environment effectively and natural resource utilizes according to the green growth and sustainable principle. Readiness to cope with the natural disaster and effect of the climate change. Relative to the industrial sector, the 5-year plan provides the direction to develop the industry sector to be the high growth sector quantitatively and qualitatively, to diversify its commercial and modern goods production to be able to meet the domestic consumption as well as for export needs, and transform it to the main sector to support quality and sustainable economic growth. To achieve this, plan has set the priority activity for industrial processing sector, including diversify commercial goods products from the industrial processing sector quantitatively and qualitatively, making it high growth sector for domestic consumption and export, using agriculture and forestry raw materials and products as production inputs. Modernize the industrial processing sector so that it is capable to competing internationally. Develop industrial to attract foreign investment in the processing industries. In line with National Vision 2030 and Strategy 10-year strategy and 5-year plan, the government of Laos PDR is developing national green growth strategy. The aim of this strategy is to provide and simultaneous comprehensive strategy and legal framework to promote green growth and sustainable development in the country through the rising efficiency of the use of country, human and natural resources, decreasing of waste and the greenhouse gas emission, increasing the forest coverage rate and green area in the urban area, and ensure the reduction poverty, social equality, gender role, and improving the quality of the living country of the people. Each determines the direction and overgoals to contribute to the socio-economic development of the country, and one of the main focus green goal is, first is rising the efficiency utilization resources, and second is reduce the waste and toxic material and greenhouse gas emission. Their priority areas have been identified and will particularly focus on some priority areas such as strengthening the investment management system to ensure green growth, scientific policy and technology research, study and importing the technique and technology with higher efficiency and effectiveness which are environmentally friendly from foreign countries, strengthening the environment management system, and the last one is promoting clean lifestyle and consumption. With the commitment of the government on green development and sustainable growth, number of programmatic area under the green growth have been implemented since 2017. Revising and improving the relevant laws and regulations such as law on environmental protection, industrial processing law, and management of law on management of water and wastewater, water resources, and relevant Prime Minister decree to the law, including the Prime Minister decree on environment impact assessment, and influence discharge fee and Prime Minister order have resulted in strengthening enforcement of legislation implementation and encourage on public, private sector, industry, small and medium enterprise to more efficient use of water resources, energy and environmentally friendly chemicals. This also have helped creating new business opportunities and service of expend funds for industry and SMEs. Cleaner production and resource efficiency is one of business areas that have been created. Clean production or resource efficiency is a system approved and tuned for cleaning industry, is defined as a preventative approach to managing the environment impact of business process and products. It's focused on change and improvement in technology, process, resource, and practice to reduce waste, environmental and health risks, minimize environmental damage, use energy and resource more efficiency, increase business profitability and competitiveness, and increase the efficiency of product process. However, the concept of the cleaner production technology and technique and technology in the country was not well. So the aim of moving toward of the green society and then Lao government, especially the Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment, will continue to support the green co-development and green industry initiative, stop to or ban importing waste material to process recycling the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Since we are running out of time, so I turn to the last speaker, Minister of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry from Mongolia, His Excellency Mr. Akbar Dajin. If you could kindly maybe speak very briefly, since we are running out of time. So, Minister, you have the floor, please.
Баярлалаа. За юуны өмнө хурал даргалагч Сангсаг Сачуу за эрхэм хүндэт сайд төлөөлөгч ноёдогтой нараа юуны өмнө миний би Ногоон хөгжил үйлдвэрлэлийн 5 дугаар чуулган улсад Монгол улсын засгийн газрын төлөөлөн улс байгаад төлөлийн татаа байна. Монгол улс нүүбийн үйлдвэрийн одоо хөгжлийн байгууллагад 1985 оны 6 сарын 21-ний өдөр албаны ёсоор гишүүнээр хэлсэн. Тэр цагаас цаг мөчөөс хойш эзэн үндэсний байгууллагын үйлдвэр хөгжлийн байгууллагаас Монгол улсад өргөжүүлсэн анхны төсөл нь 1968 онд үнд чулууны хайгуул үйл ажиллагааг эрхэлж байсан бол 1978 онд арьсан мэдлийн судалгаа хөгжлийн одоо корпорац Армоног нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын үйлдвэрлэлийн хөгжлийн байгууллагын дэмжлэгээр байгуулж байсан байна. Тус байгууллагаас Монгол улсын эрчим хүч, байгаль орчин, хөдөө аж ахуйн салбарт олон тооны төсөл хөтөлбөрүүдийг амжилттай хэрэгжүүлж байсан нэгд дуртад таатай байна. Монгол улс нь аж үйлдвэрийн нэмэн өртөө хөгжингөөсөн аж үйлдвэрийн гаралтай бүтээгдэхүүн экспортлох тэрээр олон улсад идэвхтэй тоглогч байр суурь баримтлаж буй бөгөөд нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын үйлдвэр хөгжлийн байгууллагаас хамгийн сүүлд гэхэд Монгол улсын аж үйлдвэрийн бодлогодох стратегийн чиглэл их судалгааг хэрэгжүүлэх дууссан байна. Энэхүү уламжлалт аж үйлдвэр үйлдвэрлэлт болон шинээр нэвтрэж буй ногоон аж үйлдвэрийн салбарыг хосолсон үйл ажиллагаанд бидэнд стратегийн тэргүүлэх чиглэлээр тодорхойлж улмаа салбарт хөрөнгө оруулалт хийх замаар үндэсний чадхыг нэмэгдүүлэх, нэмэн үртө шингээсэн бүтээгдэхүүн үйлдвэрлэх давуу тал гэж ойлгож байна. Нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын үйлдвэр хөгжлийн байгууллагаас Монгол улсын ногоон эдийн засаг, ногоон аж үйлдвэрлэлт шилжихэд дэмжлэг үзүүлж буй нь Монгол улс мөнгөн усны хүн амын хамгаалах Инаматагийн конвенц, органик хэлбэрээр орших буюу химийн хор бодисын тэмцэх Стокгольмын конвенц зэрэг байгаль орчны хамгаалахтай холбоотой олон улсын гэрээгээр хүлээсэн үүргээ биелүүлэхэд чухал хуур нэмэр болно гэдэгт итгэлтэй байна. Монгол улс улс орны адил хөрс, улс орны адил хөрс, элчээрийн зорилт зэрэг байгалийн баялагын төвтэй ашиглалтай холбоотой асуудал болон уур амьсгалын өөрчлөлт, аж үйлдвэрийн салбар дах мэргэжсэн ажилтнуудын бэлтгэх болон бүтээгдэхүүний экспортлох тавигдах стандартыг мөрдөх зэрэгт тулгарч буй олон өндөр бэрхшээлүүд байна. Дээрх асуудлуудыг Монгол улсын засгийн газраас ирээдүйн харсан хож бодлого хөтөлбөр боловсруулж хэрэгжүүлэхээр ажиллаж байна. Үүний тод илэрлэл нь манай улс нь доктортой хөгжлийн үйл байдал 2030 баримт бичиг суурилсан үндэсний хөгжлийн стратеги юм а. Монгол улсын их хурлаас 2014 онд ногоон хөгжлийн бодлого, 2015 онд доктортой хөгжлийн хөтөлбөр, 2016 онд Монгол улсын доктортой хөгжлийн үзэл баримтлал 2030 гэсэн бодлогын баримт бичгүүдийг баталсан. Энэ хүрээнд Монгол улс ногоон хөгжлийн бодлогын зорилго тодорхойлж, ногоон хөгжлийн үзэл санаанд тулгуурласан иргэдийн оролцоог хангасан эдийн засгийн өсөлтийг бий болгож улмаар хөрөлөн байгаа орчныг доктортой байдлыг хадгалах, ирээдүйн хойч үеийн өвлүүлж, урт хугацаанд үр шимийг хүртэх боломж нөхцөл бүрдүүлсэн хөгжингүй улс орон хэмээсэ Монгол улс нь ногоон хөгжлийн бодлогын хэрэгжүүлэх арга хэмжээний төлөвөг хог аягдлын ялгарал, хаягдлын бууруулах, ногоон ажлын байр, хэв маяг хөвшүүлэх, байгаль орчны тэмцвэрийг хангах, шинэ технологи, инновацийг хөгжүүлэх, ногоон эдийн засгийн дэмжих, санхүү хөрөнгө оруулалтын нэмэгдүүлэх, ухаалаг ногоон хот тосгоны хөгжүүлэх гэсэн үндсэн 6 зорилт 225 үйл ажиллагааг хэрэгжүүлэхээр татаад байна. Түүнчлэн засгийн газраас 2017 онд ногоон хөгжлийн бодлогыг хэрэгжүүлэх зорилгоор байгууллага орчин дээлтэй технологи нэвтрүүлсэн иргэн аж ахуйн нэгж байгууллагын урамшуулах дэмжигч журам гарган хэрэгжүүлж байна. Монгол улсын ногоон аж үйлдвэрийн үндэсний хөтөлбөрийг хог хаягдлын бууруулах шийдэл бүхий хөнгөн үйлдвэрийн зохицлоор барих ногоон хөгжил дор хот төлөлтийг зохицлох салхи нарны эрчим хүчийг үр дүнтэй ашиглах орчин үеийн шийдэл бүхий хог хаягдлыг дахин боловсруулах усны зохистой хэрэглээ бүхий хот суурингийг байгуулах зэрэг ажлуудыг хэрэгжүүлэхээр туссан байна. Дотооддоо манай улсын шинжээч мэрэгчнүүд энэхүү бодлого хөтөлбөрийг боловсруулж хэрэгжүүлснээр хэрэгжүүлэхээр ажил буй хэдий ч бидэнд ногоон хөгжлийн үр дүнтэй ашиглах зорилгоо цаашид гадаадын хөрөнгө оруулалт, техник технологийн дэвшил шаардлагатай байна. Монгол улс хөрөнгө оруулагчдыг татах таатай орчинтой бөгөөд бид хөрс улсууд болон бусад улс орнуудтай энэ чиглэлээр ажиллаж байна. Тухайлбал Европын холбооны зүгээс Монгол улсад ажлын байр нэмэгдүүлэх, багц төсөл хэрэгжүүлж буй бөгөөд түүний нэг хэсгийг манай яамны зүгээс эцэг үндэсний байгууллагын аж үйлдвэр хөгжлийн байгууллагатай хамтран хэрэгжүүлж ирсэн билээ. Мөн нүүбийн ногоон эдийн засгийн төлөөх түншлэл, Швейцар хөгжлийн агентлагийн дуттай хөгжлийн боловсрол төсөл, Даян дэлхийн ногоон хөгжлийн байгууллага болон бусад олон улсын байгууллагатай 30 гаруй төсөл хөтөлбөрүүдийг хэрэгжүүлж байна. Эрхэм ноёдтой нараа Монгол улсад энэ хөгжлийн түвшинд хөрш улсууд болон бусад улсаас харилцан хамааралтай оршиж байна. Бидний зүгээс дээрх дурдсан тэргүүлэх зорилт хөтөлбөрүүдийн хүрээнд нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын үйлдвэрлэл хөгжлийн байгууллагатай гишүүн улс орнуудтай хамтдан ажиллагаа хөгжүүлж сайн туршлагыг солилцох, технологи нэвтрүүлэх, хоёр талын болон олон талд гэрээ хэлцээ байгуулах замаар хэрэгжүүлэхээр эрмэлж байна. Та бүгд анхаарал татсанд баярлалаа.
Thank you so much, Minister Engbat Dachin. I'm afraid that we don't have time for the Q&A sessions. So before closing the session, the Secretariat would like to put on the screen the questions from polling question from the app Slido, please. And do you want the audience to vote as well?
Please do vote if you can see them on your mobile phone. Are you able to see them on your mobile phone? You need your mobile phone, please. www.slido and new session, high-level plenary session. Please do vote if you can. Let's see. Now we can see these, so we'll see the percentages as well. I cannot see them from here, though.
So I hope everybody join us in voting this.
Okay? Nobody has voted. You need to send it. Please send your vote in. Select only one, and please send your vote in. At the bottom you will see. Send.
Vote and send as well.
I would like to invite all of you, Ambassador. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was not easy. Excellency, thank you
so much. You have given us very valuable lessons.
Thank you, Junito, and also thank you all the ministers for giving us very valuable and also informative presentation today. So now I would like to close the session, and maybe the Secretariat can make some business announcement as well. So thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you all the audience as well. Thank you very much.
So the lunch will be served downstairs, 2 floors down. There's a bit where you entered the building. That's where the lunch will be. And please resume back at 2:30 sharp.
I'm sorry. Very sorry. Very sorry. We don't have time.
And thank you.
But it was not a full day, to be honest.
I just need to find Linda's phone.
She was sitting over here.
Maybe she went outside. I'll find her.
Ah, okay.
Did we take the ambassador or did they know? Okay.
I'll keep trying.
Is it he was long this morning. Those pictures of the huge. Actually, he asked for a break. Now, to have him more. And he was not doing that.
Yeah, later. Not responsible in herself.
Yeah, but it's nice.
No, she's going after lunch. Then he's coming back.
Okay. So yeah, he is now having a break.
What is wrong? She was having Christmas. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Go check and bring it back.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody with him. I just checked that. Someone knows, right? DJ.
I will bring them outside. How about this one? Yeah. The water is clean. And then where can I think what I do now? I want to take all this away because I need to use it for the administration. So these tables are not needed. I don't think so. I don't know how about the afternoon session. Okay, I will just bring them away. Yeah. Yeah, it should be like this. I think so. So, but we'll see.